Is too much kindness good or bad? 9 lessons how too much kindness can hurt you. While kindness and compassion are admirable qualities, being excessively kind without boundaries can sometimes have unintended negative consequences. Overly kind behavior, when taken to an extreme, can actually end up harming the very people it's intended to help. At its core, kindness is about considering the needs and feelings of others. However, when this impulse goes unchecked, it can lead to a pattern of prioritizing others' needs over your own. This can create an imbalance that ultimately damages both the giver and the receiver of kindness. On the surface, being extremely kind may seem like an entirely positive trait, but a closer examination reveals how this behavior can enable unhealthy dependence, prevent personal growth, compromise boundaries, and even foster resentment, both in the kind person and in those around them. Accordingly, we are going to talk about 9 lessons that shows how too much kindness can hurt you. Burnout and resentment. Constantly putting the needs of others before your own can lead to emotional and physical exhaustion, causing you to resent the very people you're trying to help. This burnout can manifest in a variety of ways, both internally and externally. Internally, you may experience increased stress, anxiety, and a sense of resentment towards those you've been overly kind to. This can lead to a deterioration of your mental well-being, making it difficult to maintain the level of kindness you once displayed. Externally, the physical toll of constantly putting others first can manifest in physical symptoms like fatigue, headaches, and even illness. Your body may simply not have the resources to keep up with the demands you're placing on it. This can make it challenging to continue providing the level of support and care you once did, ultimately leading to a breakdown in the relationships you were trying to nurture through your kindness. The resentment that builds up can also spill over into your interactions, causing you to become more short-tempered, withdrawn, or even passive-aggressive. This can damage the very connections you were trying to strengthen, as the people on the receiving end of your kindness may feel confused or hurt by the shift in your behavior. Overextending yourself in the name of kindness can thus become a self-defeating cycle where your good intentions ultimately backfire and leave you feeling drained, resentful, and disconnected from those you care about. It's crucial to find a sustainable balance where you can maintain your compassion without sacrificing your own well-being in the process. Damaged self-esteem. Prioritizing others' happiness over your own can erode your sense of self-worth and leave you feeling undervalued. When you consistently put the needs of those around you ahead of your own, it can send the message that your own desires, goals, and personal fulfillment are less important or worthy of attention. This imbalance can have a profound impact on your self-esteem and self-perception. As you continuously focus on making others happy, you may start to lose touch with your own authentic needs and interests. Your sense of identity can become inextricably linked to the role of the caregiver or pleaser, rather than a well-rounded individual with your own intrinsic value. Over time, this pattern can lead to a diminished sense of self-worth. If you're constantly sacrificing your own happiness in the service of others, you may begin to feel that your own needs and feelings are somehow less valid or deserving of attention. This can manifest in a range of emotional challenges, from low self-confidence to feelings of resentment and even depression. Moreover, when you consistently prioritize others' happiness over your own, you may find that the people in your life don't reciprocate the same level of appreciation or validation. Without that external affirmation, your already fragile sense of self-worth can deteriorate further, leaving you feeling undervalued and unappreciated for the emotional labor you've been shouldering. This erosion of self-esteem can have far-reaching consequences, impacting your ability to assert your boundaries, make decisions that align with your own needs, and ultimately, to cultivate a healthy, fulfilling life. It's essential to find a balance where you can maintain your compassion for others while also honoring your own inherent worth and prioritizing your personal growth and well-being. Exploitation and manipulation. Your kindness may be taken advantage of by those who learn to exploit your unwillingness to say no. When you consistently demonstrate a willingness to go above and beyond for others, some individuals may come to recognize and capitalize on your accommodating nature. These people, whether consciously or subconsciously, may start to take your kindness for granted, making increasingly demanding requests or imposing upon your time and resources without regard for your own needs or boundaries. They may come to expect a level of service and support that goes far beyond what is reasonable or sustainable, seeing your kindness as a resource to be exploited rather than a genuine expression of care. As this pattern continues, you may find yourself increasingly overwhelmed, resentful, and unable to say no, even when the requests being made of you are unreasonable or detrimental to your own well-being. The fear of disappointing or upsetting others, or the desire to maintain the perception of being a kind and helpful person, can make it exceptionally difficult to assert your limits. This dynamic can create a deeply imbalanced relationship, where the exploitative individual holds a significant amount of power and control over your time and emotional resources. They may come to see your kindness as an entitlement rather than a gift, and your inability to say no as a weakness to be leveraged. Over time, this can erode your sense of agency and autonomy, leaving you feeling trapped, manipulated, and undervalued. The very kindness that you intended as a positive force can become a burden, as you find yourself unable to prevent others from taking advantage of your generosity. Damaged boundaries. Difficulty setting healthy boundaries can lead to you being overburdened and taken for granted. When you struggle to clearly communicate your limits and expectations to others, it can open the door for them to make increasingly demanding requests or take advantage of your willingness to accommodate them. Without firm boundaries in place, you may find yourself continually stretching your time, energy, and resources to meet the needs of those around you. This can quickly lead to a state of emotional and physical exhaustion as you strive to fulfill the ever-growing list of obligations and responsibilities placed upon you. As you become increasingly overburdened, the people in your life may begin to take your kindness and availability for granted. They may come to expect a level of support and assistance that far exceeds what is reasonable, without considering the impact it has on your own well-being. This lack of boundaries can also create an imbalance in your relationships, where you are consistently the one giving, while others feel entitled to receive without reciprocating. This dynamic can breed resentment, as you may feel that your generosity is not being properly acknowledged or appreciated. Moreover, the inability to set clear boundaries can make it challenging for you to pursue your own goals, interests, and self-care activities. Your time and energy become so consumed by meeting the needs of others that you neglect your own personal growth and fulfillment. Ultimately, the difficulty in establishing healthy boundaries can leave you feeling overburdened, undervalued, and taken for granted by the very people you're trying to help. This can lead to a deterioration of your own mental, emotional, and physical well-being as you struggle to maintain the level of kindness you once displayed. Learning to set and enforce appropriate boundaries is crucial in preventing this dynamic from taking hold. By clearly communicating your limits and expectations, you can regain control over your time and resources and ensure that your kindness is not exploited or taken for granted. Neglect of your own needs. Neglect of your own needs. Focusing too much on others means neglecting your own needs for self-care, personal growth, and fulfillment. When you consistently prioritize the needs and desires of those around you, it can come at the expense of attending to your own fundamental requirements for a healthy, balanced, and fulfilling life. By constantly directing your time, energy, and attention outwards, you may find that you have little left to devote to your own physical, emotional, and psychological well-being. Basic self-care activities like proper nutrition, exercise, and rest may fall by the wayside as you become consumed by the demands of others. This neglect of your personal needs can have far-reaching consequences. Without adequate self-care, your physical and mental health may deteriorate, leading to increased stress, fatigue, and even illness. The very foundation upon which you build your ability to support and care for others begins to crumble, undermining your capacity to be truly present and effective in your relationships. Beyond just the physical and practical needs, the neglect of your own personal growth and fulfillment can also take a significant toll. When you're constantly focused on addressing the goals and aspirations of others, you may find that your own dreams, passions, and aspirations take a back seat. This can lead to a sense of stagnation, dissatisfaction, and a growing disconnect between who you are and who you wish to become. The lack of investment in your own development can also impact your ability to bring your authentic, fully realized self to your relationships and interactions. Without the nourishment of your own pursuits and personal exploration, you may find it increasingly difficult to maintain a strong sense of identity, confidence, and inner fulfillment. This neglect of your own needs can create a ripple effect, diminishing your overall well-being and the quality of the connections you have with others. As you become depleted, both physically and emotionally, your ability to offer genuine, sustainable support and compassion to those around you may become compromised. Strained relationships. The imbalance created by your excessive kindness can put a strain on your relationships, leading to resentment and conflict. When you consistently go above and beyond for others, often at the expense of your own needs and boundaries, it can create an unsustainable dynamic that can ultimately undermine the very connections you're trying to nurture. As you continuously pour out your time, energy, and resources to meet the demands of those around you, an imbalance begins to take shape. The more you give, the more others may come to expect, creating a sense of entitlement and a lack of reciprocity in the relationship. This can leave you feeling taken for granted, as the generosity you've extended is not matched by an equal level of consideration and support from the other party. Over time, this lopsided dynamic can breed resentment, both on your part and potentially from the individuals who have grown accustomed to your excessive kindness. You may begin to feel that your efforts are not being properly acknowledged or appreciated, while the recipients of your kindness may start to feel that your support is an expectation rather than a gift. This resentment can manifest in a variety of ways, from passive-aggressive behavior to outright conflict. The individuals who have grown dependent on your kindness may become increasingly demanding or critical, perceiving any attempt by you to set boundaries or prioritize your own needs as a personal affront. Conversely, your own growing resentment may lead to emotional outbursts, withdrawn behavior, or a general sense of tension in the relationship. By learning to set and enforce appropriate boundaries, communicating your needs and expectations openly, and cultivating a sense of reciprocity in your interactions, you can work towards a more sustainable and mutually beneficial dynamic. Through this process, you can not only safeguard your own well-being, but also strengthen the bonds you share with those around you, fostering deeper, more authentic connections built on mutual respect, understanding, and a genuine exchange of care and support. Missed opportunities. Putting others first can mean missing out on chances to pursue your own goals, interests, and dreams. When you consistently prioritize the needs and desires of those around you, it can come at the cost of neglecting your own aspirations and the potential for personal growth and fulfillment. As you devote your time and energy to addressing the demands of others, the windows of opportunity to focus on your own ambitions may begin to narrow. Whether it's the chance to take on a new challenge at work, explore a creative passion, or embark on a personal development journey, these opportunities can slip away as you become increasingly consumed by the needs of those you care about. This missed potential can be particularly poignant when it involves goals and pursuits that are deeply meaningful to you. The dreams you've harbored, the skills you've longed to cultivate, and the adventures you've envisioned can all take a back seat as you cater to the priorities of others. Over time, this can lead to a growing sense of regret, unfulfillment, and a nagging feeling that you've compromised your own potential. The opportunity cost of putting others first can extend beyond just your personal aspirations. It can also limit your ability to engage in activities that nourish your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Time for self-care, leisure, and personal exploration may be squeezed out, further contributing to a sense of imbalance and a diminished quality of life. Moreover, this neglect of your own goals and interests can have a ripple effect on your relationships. As you become increasingly disconnected from your authentic self and the sources of your own fulfillment, it can be challenging to bring your full, vibrant presence to your interactions with others. The very connections you're trying to nurture may suffer as a result of your own diminished sense of self-actualization. Unrealistic expectations. Others may come to expect an unreasonably high level of kindness and service from you, setting the bar impossibly high. When you repeatedly demonstrate an exceptional degree of generosity and selflessness, it can inadvertently shape the perceptions and expectations of those around you, leading to a dynamic that becomes increasingly difficult to sustain. As you consistently go above and beyond in your efforts to support and accommodate the needs of others, the individuals in your life may come to view this level of kindness and dedication as the new norm. They may begin to expect that you will always be available, always willing to make sacrifices, and always ready to prioritize their well-being over your own. This setting of an impossibly high standard can create a sense of pressure and obligation that can weigh heavily on you. The more you've conditioned those around you to anticipate your unwavering support, the more challenging it becomes to assert your own needs, boundaries, or limitations without facing resistance or even accusations of selfishness or neglect. The unrealistic expectations of others can also lead to a growing sense of resentment and frustration within you. As you strive to maintain the level of kindness and service that has become expected, you may begin to feel increasingly drained, underappreciated, and even taken for granted. The joy and fulfillment that once came from your acts of generosity may gradually be replaced by a sense of burden and resentment. This dynamic can have far-reaching consequences, not only on your own well-being, but also on the quality and sustainability of your relationships. As the strain of meeting these unrealistic expectations continues to mount, you may find yourself withdrawing emotionally, becoming less engaged, or even lashing out in uncharacteristic ways. By reclaiming your right to set reasonable limits and prioritize your own needs, you can work towards a more sustainable and fulfilling way of engaging with the people in your life, ultimately strengthening the bonds you share through a more balanced and authentic exchange of care and support. Diminished sense of identity. Constantly putting the needs of others before your own can cause you to lose touch with your authentic self and personal boundaries. Diminished sense of identity. Constantly putting the needs of others before your own can cause you to lose touch with your authentic self and personal boundaries. When you become habitually focused on meeting the demands and expectations of those around you, it can lead to a gradual erosion of your sense of individuality, your core values, and your ability to clearly define and honor your own needs and limits. As you devote more and more of your time, energy, and resources to catering to the requirements of others, the space for self-reflection, personal exploration, and the cultivation of your unique identity can diminish. The constant pressure to be available, accommodating, and selfless can gradually overshadow your own aspirations, interests, and preferences, leaving you feeling increasingly disconnected from the essence of who you are. This loss of self can manifest in a variety of ways. You may find yourself struggling to articulate your own needs and boundaries, deferring to the wishes of others, even when they conflict with your own. Your decision-making process may become increasingly influenced by a desire to please or appease those around you, rather than being guided by your authentic values and priorities. Over time, this chronic self-neglect can lead to a profound sense of disorientation and a weakening of your personal agency. You may find yourself hesitant to assert your opinions, afraid to disappoint or displease others, and ultimately uncertain about your own core beliefs, desires, and sense of purpose. This diminished sense of identity can have far-reaching implications, not only on your personal well-being, but also on the quality and depth of your relationships. As you become increasingly disconnected from your authentic self, it can become challenging to engage in genuine, meaningful connections with others. Your ability to express your true thoughts, feelings, and needs may become hindered, creating a disconnect between the person you present to the world and the person you know yourself to be. Moreover, the erosion of your personal boundaries can leave you vulnerable to exploitation, manipulation, or the imposition of others' agendas onto your life. Without a strong sense of self to serve as a foundation, you may find it increasingly difficult to protect your own interests and maintain a healthy balance between your own needs and the needs of those you care about. All in all, the challenge lies in finding the right balance, being genuinely compassionate, while also maintaining healthy limits and prioritizing self-care. Kindness is a strength, but it must be coupled with discernment and self-awareness to avoid becoming a weakness that inadvertently harms those it aims to help.